Hello again, everyone. Louis Setti, the Blue Ridge Reporter, speaking to you on December 7th, 2011. In the early evening after the sentencing today of Rob Blagojevich, former governor of Illinois, to 14 years in federal prison on corruption charges, attempting to solicit money in return for favors. That was the general gist of the charges, and I'm making this presentation based on the Institutes of Biblical Law, written by a gentleman now deceased, unknown to many of you who are not Christians and many who are, John Rushdoony. This presentation will be seem very exotic, strange, perhaps bizarre to those of you who are not Christians. To those of you who are Christians, you may not have ever considered what the Bible says about punishment for crimes. And what I've been talking about in a very simplified way is that the Bible does not provide for prison sentences for criminal offenses based on what Dr. Rushdoony, a biblical scholar, has reported in his lengthy book about the topic. And instead provides for restitution, corporal punishment, meaning flogging up to 40 lashes, and the death penalty for certain crimes, even for first-time offenders, or for what might be considered lesser crimes, but however by repeat or incorrigible defendants. The question becomes, who defines law? Whether it's the content of what a crime is, and just as importantly, what the punishments are that are just, again, in the terms of whoever provides the content and meaning of those terms. Now, if the state provides the content and meaning of crimes and the proper punishments, then it's nothing more than mankind speaking or expressing itself through government by whatever form of government those people may have. If it's God providing the content, then that requires an entirely different analysis and puts us in a position of having received or responding to revealed truth as opposed to what men think of in the first instance out of their own minds. And again, to those who are not believers, this will seem very strange, but nevertheless, I will proceed. It's just as important to consider what the Bible says about proper justice or justice as to the definition of crimes themselves, because if the government, if the sentencing agency does not provide justice in the sentence, then the sentencing agency has been equally unjust to the defendant as he was in being unjust or unjust, whatever the word is, to his victims, you see? So injustice can occur on both ends. Not only the defendant in what he did, in the crime he committed, but in the sentencing agency providing for an unjust punishment. We should also think about the practical effects of what the Bible provides. For example, what will this man, Rob Blagojevich, former governor, endure now for 14 years separated from his family, separated from his daughter, who apparently is quite young? What will it mean for society to have to house him, feed him, provide the security so he stays there, even though it's a minimum security facility, and also whatever medical care he needs? You multiply that by so very many people in federal and state prisons around the country, and you can see the tremendous cost to this man-made system of prison as a means of punishment. Don't forget, Mr. Blagojevich is not considered any violent threat. He was a white-collar criminal. Yes, he intended to do a very evil thing, but is not a physical threat to any person. So there are some considerations, even from a secular humanist point of view, that one might want to consider, comparing the biblical forms of proper sentencing and man-made or state-imposed sentencing. One might say, well, gee, flogging is such a harsh, backward kind of thing, something from a sailing ship where the captain would say, well, put him against the mast and flog him 20, 30, 40 times, whatever the violation may have been that produced the flogging. But I venture to say, if Mr. Blagojevich was asked this very moment, would he rather be flogged 40 times and go to jail for 14 years? I venture to say he would accept flogging not only just one time, once every 14 years. I think he'd find that to be a gentler and fairer and certainly not unduly harsh sentence. Regarding people in prison who are so violent and have been so habitually violent, what is the purpose of keeping them there? Why do they deserve to live in biblical terms? They deserve the death penalty for their persistent, incorrigible behavior. They are so violent that they must be kept in individual cells, highly secured. Multiple guards need to remove them for the smallest purpose, but yet cuff them hands and feet and have them move down the hallways. There's always a danger that these prisoners might attack the guards, and it's frequent that prisoners kill each other. That is a very rapid and incomplete report about what the Bible provides. Certainly what I've said can be criticized by those who have never even considered that the Bible does provide certain prescribed penalties for a just form of sentencing, and certainly by those I can be criticized who don't consider the Bible to be valid for any purpose. But I've presented that for what it's worth, and I believe it's worth consideration and should be considered, especially by Christians. Thank you for listening. This is Louis Setti, the Blue Ridge Reporter.